Hello everyone, this is part 21 of What If Naruto Was the Child of the Moon in Percy Jackson, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Oh. Number. I can't be late, Percy muttered as he rushed to Half-Blood Hill. Why was he rushing, you ask? Well, Naruto told him to expect someone to be taken out of the quest even before they started. He didn't mean killed, Percy figured it was more of incapacitate. On this particular day, he did wake up early, and get his gear ready for the quest. But something happened to cause him to be this late. As he readied his gear, he heard banging. He looked around. He definitely was alone. Naruto didn't bunk in his room this night. He did promise to bunk with the other cabins. It was the Athena cabin that night. That didn't stop the banging though. It continued on. It was coming from his door. He opened the door to see a black Pegasus. It was the same one they saved from Luke's ship during the summer when they were coming back from the Sea of Monsters. He was asking for help. It was something about a sea critter being caught in a net. But Percy froze when he heard an unfamiliar sound for the sea. It was a moo. He couldn't understand it. He knew about sea cows, but he didn't expect it to really be a cross between a cow and a fish. Well, drive, he saved it. It was hard without using his sword. The poor sea cow was scared of his blade. After saving Bessie, don't ask me. It was Percy's idea. He immediately made it to Half-Blood Hill expecting them to be waiting for him, but alas. They weren't there anymore. It was just Chiron, Argus, and he couldn't remember his name. Oh yeah, there was Nico. He lay on the tree snoozing. Luna was also there pouting. It looks like Naruto didn't bring him on the quest. Percy, good morning. Chiron greeted. You're up early. Oh. Hey Chiron and cacao tree. Percy said. The Jonin sighed, it's Kakashi. Oh. Yeah. Right, sorry. Percy scratched the back of his head. So, what are you doing up, Gaki? Kakashi asked him. I take it you're not part of the quest supposedly. Gaki. He didn't recognize that word, but he decided not to dwell on it further. I heard the quest lost one member. Who was it? It was Phoebe, Chiron answered. Why? What happened? Percy asked. The Stoll brothers rigged the shirt they gave her. Now she's covered in hives and is bedridden for a week, the centaur explained. Oh my, Percy said in mock shock. He wasn't really shocked. It was something to be expected from the pseudo-twins of Cabin 11. In addition to that, Naruto told him of their intentions the night before. So yeah. Kakashi looked at him with sympathy. You wanted to replace Phoebe on the quest, am I right? Percy nodded. I'm sorry, my boy, Chiron said. You just missed them. Oh, is that so? Percy said. With that being said, Nico stirred from his sleep and groggily asked, are they gone? I'm afraid so, Chiron answered. Now Percy, could you take Nico here back to the cabin 11? Okay, Chiron, Percy said, then he turned to the younger demigod. Come on Nico. Nico slowly stood up and the two of them walked towards Nico's cabin. What's wrong, Nico? Percy asked. I'm worried about Bianca, the little kid answered. Oh, Nico? I'm sure Naruto would look after her, Percy comforted the kid, but he didn't look convinced. They told her that the quest needed 6, Nico reasoned. I'm worried something might happen to her. Percy shook his head. Naruto won't let a prophecy stop him from looking after your sister. He didn't listen. He gasped as he thought about a great idea. You could go follow them. But Nico, the van already left and I don't have any right to follow them, the son of Poseidon tried to reason, but a horse swooped down beside Percy and whinnied. Do you have some apples, boss? Percy's mind translated the black Pegasus's whinnies in his mind. Wow, cool. It's a Pegasus, Nico said with wide eyes. Now you have a ride, right? Oh, Nico? I don't know, Percy lied. Please, Nico pleaded. Will you please go join the quest? Nico didn't give him a time to reason out. Besides, you're planning to go anyway, aren't you? On the road west. Ugh, I'm hungry, Grover moaned as the van drove west towards their destination. You didn't eat before we left, did you? Naruto said. No, Grover replied sheepishly. A loud grumbling sound came from Naruto's stomach, causing the others to give him odd looks. Grover gave Naruto a knowing look. You didn't have breakfast too, did you? It's not my fault. Naruto tried to defend himself. It's cause of that stupid dream that woke me up too early. Breakfast didn't even come to mind. To think thee will have a dream at the same time as I, Zoe said. You did. Naruto snapped, leaning over to the driver's seat. Calm thyself down, boy, Zoe scolded. I will thee. Zoe narrated her dream to the questers. Surprisingly, or unsurprisingly at this point, it was the same dream Naruto had that night. Naruto began completing her sentences upon realizing that. You seem like you already know about this, Bianca told the rest of the members of the quest. That's cause Naruto already told us some people took their sweet time getting to the quest, Talia said from her spot beside the blonde. And I'm telling you, it wasn't our fault, Zoe argued back. It was thy campus' fault for that silly prank on Phoebe. Now we lost our best tracker. Come guys, this isn't the time to argue about that, Bianca pleaded. Fine. The two arguing females relented. It is thy luck day, boys, Zoe said. What is it this time? Naruto asked. The van's tank is already running on empty, Zoe explained. We can stop for breakfast, but that shall be out only stop, got it? Naruto shook his head. How about lunch? Don't tell me you're going to skip lunch. Or dinner, Grover added. You two boys are always hungry, aren't you? Bianca asked. Grover's ears turned pink, and the blonde rubbed the back of his head sheepishly. Just then, a low quiet grumble came from Zoe's stomach. Everyone smirked at Zoe. Someone's hungry too, Talia teased. Fine, we can stop for breaks, Zoe said, trying to save face. At a random gas station. It was still fairly early in the morning, so they were able to travel quite a way away thanks to the absence of traffic at this time of day. Upon finding a gas station, Zoe pulled up in front of a pump and everyone unloaded out of the van. Fortunately for them, there was a fast food right beside them. It had a logo of two golden arches placed side by side so they formed a letter M. Naruto dug into his pocket and handed the Grover a platinum-colored card with a lotus logo on the front and Naruto's name on it. That looks familiar somehow, Bianca said, noticing the card he was giving Grover. Didn't you keep yours? Naruto asked. This is how it looks like when you bring it out of the hotel. Grover looked at the two oddly, then to the piece of plastic he was handed, and the color drained from his face. Why you kept this? Why didn't you throw it away? Naruto waved off his concern. Why? Who am I to refuse free money? But, come on, relax. Nothing will happen. I'm still alive, right? Naruto said. Now, go buy the girls some food and I'll catch up with ya. Grover gave Naruto one more questioning look and nodded his head. Fine, if you say so. What will you do? Talia asked. I'll fill up the tank, Naruto answered. Answer, there was our favorite blonde whistling a tune to himself as he pumped gas into the tank. He wanted to have some earbuds in his ear so bad, but you know what happens with demigods and technology. It's not that he couldn't handle an attack. It's just that he was almost never on his own and he never wanted to attract unnecessary attention, especially when quests, if you catch my drift. Anyway, standing in the shadows was a shady character who had been watching the group ever since they dismounted their vehicle. The character nodded to someone else hiding and went out. He walked over to the blonde clutching a switchblade in his pocket. You there? Don't get any ideas. Just give me all your money and I'll be on my way. Naruto continued tapping and whistling to his imaginary tune. TCH, he clicked his tongue when he noticed the blonde ignoring him. Hey you. I'm talking to you. There was still no response. Hey. The man raised his voice. What? Where? Who? Naruto looked around at whoever could have called him. I'm sorry. Did you say something? The shady character grit his teeth. Give me all your money, so I can gut you and leave. How about no? Naruto shook his head. The thug brandished a pocket knife. Any last words before I cut you to pieces? Go away, Naruto answered. Clever smart ass, the man grumbled as he charged forward ready to stab a seemingly defenseless blonde. It happened so fast. At first, he thought he was ready to plunge in the knife, but the next thing he knew, he was facing the wrong direction with his own knife aimed at the back of his head. The thug struggled to get free and pleaded, let go of me, please. I'll do anything. I'll give you anything. A bit too late for that. In the first place, didn't I tell you to go away? Naruto said in a dangerously calm voice. I should be done by now and having breakfast with my friends. Bob, help me, the thug called out. Someone came out of the shadows and tried to sneak up on Naruto. See, your friend here has the right idea. Naruto talked down on the thug he had in a hold. You're a dead man, the thug answered back. Oh really? Naruto talked back. Out of the corner of Naruto's eyes, the shadows shifted. The two thugs didn't notice it. The shadows peeled themselves out of the ground, revealing a small puppy with silver fur charging towards the skulking thug named Bob. Get away of him. Naruto's mind translated the puppy's barks. Bob didn't get to do anything. A silver blur rammed him, knocking him to the ground. The silver puppy growled at him, daring him to do something. Get it off me, Bob yelled in fear. Naruto pushed the thug he held and knocked him with the handle of the pocket knife. Stay down. He then turned to the guy on the ground and saw his most favorite puppy in the world. Luna, what are you doing here? Naruto greeted. Luna regarded him briefly with a happy bark and returned to growling at the thug. Please, have mercy on me, he pleaded. If I let you go, will you leave us alone? Naruto asked. Yes, anything. Just please let me go, he whined. Fine. Luna heal, Naruto ordered. Luna looked at him oddly, and Naruto gave him a reassuring look. Luna complied, trusting in her master, and jumped to her master's arms. Bob scurried to his feet and briefly looked at the animal who had him at her mercy. What the? Bob stopped upon seeing the puppy. It was just a. He didn't get to finish his statement as Luna growled at him, but this time her voice was deeper and almost demonic. In addition to that, her eyes glowed red and some of her furs turned black. This spooked Bob so much that he almost forgot to pick up his friend as he fled. Naruto looked at his puppy who had returned to normal. Now, what are you doing here, little miss? I thought I told you to stay in camp. I really missed you. I didn't want to left alone again. He translated. Oh, Luna, there are a lot of campers back at camp, Naruto said. But I really missed you. She gave him her puppy dog eyes. Ah, if you look at me like that, Naruto was beginning to break. Oh, okay fine. Tell ya what, I'll finish filling up the van and how about we go get some chicken and burgers? I like that very much. With Percy, a jet black horse with wings was flying above the horizon following a white van that traversed the highway. The Pegasus panted as he tried to keep up with the much faster vehicle. Are you okay, Blackjack? Percy asked. The horse whinnied. I'll be fine, boss. Are you sure? Percy asked again, worried about his ride. I'm not sure if they would stop any time soon. I'm a strong horse, boss. This tailing had gone on for a few more minutes up until the horse was completely exhausted. Finally, they stopped. The horse sighed in relief as they landed on the rooftop of one building. Are you sure you can keep up with them? Percy made sure. I can. I just need a little breather. The Pegasus tried to act strong despite the condition it was in. All right, if you say so, the son of Poseidon didn't sound convinced. Why don't you stay here while I go get us something to eat? Percy turned around and saw a shady figure trying to sneak up on Naruto. The said blonde seemed oblivious to the skulking danger. He was about to jump off when something slithered up his ankles and held on tight. And where do you think you're going? A lazy voice drawled from right behind him. A chill ran up Percy's spine as the voice registered in his mind. To add to that, Blackjack let out a loud neigh like a bunch of poachers had found him. Oh, hey Mr. D. Percy waved meekly at the god of wine. How's it going? At the same moment inside the restaurant, the group was sitting at a table munching on some food they have bought. No one said a word as they ate since Talia and Zoe were at odds, while Bianca and Grover didn't want to say anything for fear of saying anything that would cause a fight. Eventually, they got tired of the silence and Grover began to break the ice. It's a good thing they sell these veggie burgers, huh? You don't like meat? Bianca asked. Grover shook his head. It doesn't feel right to eat my fellow animals. So, Grover, we should start with your tracking song before we go, Talia suggested. How sure are thee that thy song would find Artemis? Zoe asked. It works. Grover protested as he bit through the wrapper along with his burger. Lay of Grover, will ya? Talia challenged. I am just making sure we need to find our goddess, Zoe reasoned. Remember, it was thy campers who took out our best tracker. Well, if you weren't so stuck up all the time, then maybe we could have gotten along, Talia countered. And for the last time, it's your and you, not thy, thou, or thee. This is not the 1500s. Come to think of it. Why do you sound like you're from the 1550s? Bianca chimed in. I don't like talking about my past, Zoe muttered. But that is not important right now. We have a mission to look for my goddess. If that tracking song of yours does not work, then, we have a backup. Talia answered. You're forgetting who else is on this team. Thou are talking about Artemis' son. Zoe raised an eyebrow. Of course. He's a highly trained shinobi and he's super strong too. Grover beamed proudly. Zoe flashed him a look and said, even so, but why must thee put thy trust in a mere boy? He's not just a mere boy, he's different. Talia countered. Oh. How far have thee fallen? Zoe shook her head. No wonder you refused to join us. I told you. Back then I had to look after Annabeth and the others. Talia defended herself. Besides, I owe my second life to him. That idiot, not knowing when something is impossible. To be fair, he doesn't believe the word impossible exists, Grover chimed in. Tell you what, Talia said, offering a proposition. Why don't we put our differences aside just for once for the sake of the quest? Can you at least manage that? Zoe briefly considered this. You seem intent on helping the boy. I told you, I owe him a lot. He would do the same for us, anyway. Talia reasoned, then she offered her hand to the hunter's lieutenant. So, what do you say? Truce. Truce. Zoe accepted the offered hand and they shook on it. Could you hold off on the man-hating thing too? Grover added. Fine, but just for the half-bloods on this quest, Zoe relented. Hey, guys, Naruto greeted as he walked up to the table. You won't believe who came to join us. Bark. The little puppy in Naruto's arms greeted in his own way. How did she get here? Bianca asked. Beats me. Naruto shrugged. She just appeared out of nowhere. Everyone looked at each other, not sure of how to make of this. Let's just eat, Zoe said. We can figure that out later. I suppose you're right, Naruto shrugged it off. So, would you like some chicken nuggets? He asked. Of course. Washington, D.C. Yes, dear reader, you read that right. Our group of demigods had continued on south instead of going west. Why, you ask? Well, as agreed on, Grover played his tracking song using, believe it or not, some acorns. Zoe gave him a questioning look, but she gave the goat boy the benefit of the doubt in accordance to hers and Talia's agreement. And now they're here. The van pulled up next to a museum. It was the Museum of Natural History. Naruto's head snapped to the side. He saw the air shimmer in the direction she saw the shimmer. What's wrong? Bianca asked, noticing the blonde's sudden jerk. It's nothing, he lied. In fact, he had just detected Percy using Annabeth's invisibility cap. Somehow, he had made it to them even though he was left at the camp. Niece, Perce, good job catching up, he thought to himself. Are you sure this is the right place? Talia asked. We've gone a long way away from what the prophecy said. And the acorns told you to come here. Bianca asked. Hey, I'll have you know that this is a time-honored skill. I know I did it right. Grover explained. Guys, you have to believe me. I felt nature tell me to go there. How sure are you about this? Talia asked. 99%, Grover said. No, maybe 85. We will have to make do, Zoe spoke up. I feel traces of my lady's essence lingering in the air. Let us just look around for clues. Naruto smirked. What happened to you, Zoe? No berating today. It is none of thy business, Zoe said, keeping a straight face. Okay, Naruto said. Anyone want to check out that pirate event? Sounds like a costume party. Naruto, it says the private event, Grover corrected. Naruto narrowed his eyes to look at the sign better. Oh, does it? Sorry. That seems like a good place to start, Bianca offered. Naruto nudged the sleeping puppy sitting on his lap to wake her. Come on, girl. Time to get down. With Percy. Naruto must have rubbed off on Percy, cause right now he was doing a great job of sneaking into the private event. Well, he was borrowing Annabeth's cap of invisibility, but you have to hand it to him. He looked like a natural. All this tailing though started when a dark, suspicious-looking sedan pulled up into the parking lot of the museum. It carried an old enemy that he didn't want to see so soon. It was Dr. Thorne. They entered a huge chamber filled with mastodons and dinosaur skeletons. Percy managed to slip indoors for the Manticore. They entered a large round room with a balcony ringing the second level. There were at least a dozen mortal guards dotting the area, along with two monsters, reptilian women with double snake trunks instead of legs. If he remembered correctly, Annabeth had called them Scythian Drachyni. Percy had to wonder how the mortals could work with the monsters. He had to push that thought aside as that wasn't the worst of the things to worry about, because standing in between the snake women was an old enemy. It was Luke Castellan, except his skin was paler and older than last time he saw him if memory served him right. The angry light in his eyes didn't change as well as the scar that made its way down the side of his face, but now it looked red like it reopened somehow. Standing beside him with an uncaring look on his face was a younger boy around Naruto's age or maybe older. He had his eyes closed, maybe to drown everything around him or maybe just because he didn't care. He had spiky black hair that hung over the side of his face. Percy had to say, it kinda looked like a duck's butt. Percy didn't know who he was, but he looked like bad news if they were to fight against him. There was another man in the room, but he was hidden in the shadows. All Percy could see from him were his knuckles that clutched the armrest of the throne, and what he can occasionally hear from him were groans and complaints about his neck. Though his voice was not icy and creepy like the voice of Kronos from his dreams, it was deep and booming like it was coming from the earth itself. Dr. Thorne decided to speak up in his French accent after doing a stiff bow. They are here, General. I know that already, but where? The man with a booming voice said. In the Rocket Museum, Thorne answered. The Air and Space Museum, Luke corrected irritably. Thorne shot him a glare and answered with venom in his voice, as you say, sir. He sounded like he couldn't accept Luke as a leader of sorts. How many? Luke asked. Thorne didn't answer. How many? The general demanded. 5, General. He finally answered. The satyr, Grover Underwood, the girl in, how do the young ones call it these days, punk clothes with her horrible shield, and the teleporting boy, the son of the goddess. Talia and Naruto, Luke said. The teen with a duck but hairstyle seemed interested at the mention of the blonde's name. And 2 other girls, hunters, one wears a silver circlet. That one I know, the general growled. Everyone in shifted uncomfortably. Let me take them, Luke presented. We have more than enough. HMPH, Sasuke scoffed at Luke's proposal. You couldn't stop them at the boat even when you outnumber them. Luke glared at him. Your boastful master couldn't do anything about them either. I like to you do better. That snake is not my master. Sasuke's eyes flashed red with 3 tomo in his irises. But as you say, I will show you how to do things. Patience, the general calmed the 2 arguing men. They'll have their hands full soon enough. I will send them a playmate. But, Luke tried to protest. We cannot risk you, my boy. Yes, boy, Thorne dittoed the general's statement. You are much too fragile. Let me finish him off. No. The general rose from his throne, giving Percy a good look at him. For starters, he looked like a living statue. He had dark slicked back hair, grey stone-like eyes, light brown skin, and a very muscular build. He had a brutal face, huge shoulders, and hands that could snap a flagpole in half. He had a regal expression in his face that Percy knew he had seen before, and now had a cold, proud look in his fury for the Manticore. He was wearing an expensive brown suit like the ones you would see on Wall Street brokers. You have already failed me, Thorne. He snapped. But, General. No excuses. Thorne flinched. This time he didn't look too scary as when Percy met him in the military school. At that moment, Sasuke flung a kunai at Percy's direction. It whizzed past his cheek, drawing blood. What is it, boy? The general asked. It seems we have a fly milling about. A dark-haired teen with his hair looking like a duck's but had his arm outstretched like he had just flung a projectile weapon. His eyes glowed red as his bloodline was activated. He had his eyes transfixed on a particular spot where the others could see nothing in particular. What are you doing? Luke asked. There is nothing there. Nothing can fool these eyes of mine, Sasuke said, directing it to the invisible force in the room more than to his ally. Show yourself. Percy didn't know what to do. He had somehow been spotted. But how? He was sure he was invisible. The sound of 1,000 screeching birds could now be heard as the Uchiha activated his jutsu. This is your last warning. This looked bad for the son of Poseidon. There was nothing left for him to do. The only logical thing he could do right now was to run for his life. He didn't know how far he could get against another shinobi, but he still ran. Sasuke moved to chase him, but the general stopped him. Save your energy, my boy. He will be destroyed along with the rest of them. He turned to one of the mortals. Do you have the teeth? With Naruto and the others. Annabeth would be on a roll if she were with us right now, Naruto said as they milled around the Air and Space Museum looking for anything weird. I remember when she took me here. She could have gone for hours. That's little Annabeth for you, Talia chuckled. She always loved to learn. They looked high and low around the museum. The place wasn't crowded at all. There were only a few mortal families and a couple of tour groups for kids on their holiday school trips. There was nothing weird at all. Nothing out of the ordinary, only the satyr with them could smell monsters. Just then, an invisible force slammed into Talia, except it wasn't an invisible force. The invisibility cap rolled off on impact, revealing Percy, who was barreling through the museum to get away from his pursuer. Bark! Luna greeted, trying to cover Percy's face in slobber. Percy, you may die, Grover began in glee, but he caught himself at the glare of the lieutenant of the hunters. I mean, what are you doing here? Zoe narrowed her eyes at the satyr, then returned her glare to the newcomer. She had her bow drawn ready to skewer him with an arrow at any moment. How dare you show yourself here? Percy narrated the tale of what he found out in the Natural History Museum as he tried to calm the puppy down. Apparently, that was enough to soften. It shifted to a look of surprise. Surely, you lie, boy. Zoe said, trying to deny the fact. The general cannot be here. He is. Percy pushed. But there's no time. That guy with the red eyes is after me. Red eyes? Naruto asked. What are you talking about, Percy? That guy with a hair like a duck's butt. Percy explained. I think he's from the elemental nations too. Sasuke, Naruto was stunned as well. He didn't expect to meet his old teammate here of all places. You know him from somewhere? Bianca asked. He's an old friend, Naruto answered. But what is he doing here? Grover asked. Orochimaru must have brought him here with him, Naruto explained. In any case, we will not survive a fight if the general really is here, Zoe said. We must leave immediately. You're right, Percy nodded. That's really stupid of you, Percy, coming all the way out here, Talia said. Come on, let's go to the van. Absolutely not. I only agreed to travel with him. Zoe protested as she gestured at the blonde. I will not. Kitty. Everyone turned their attention to the commotion. Zoe was interrupted by the kids yelling in glee while the adults screamed in fear, trying to get away from something. Luna growled. Then, a huge hulking beast bounded up the ramp. It was easily the size of a pickup truck with silver claws and golden fur that shimmered in the sunlight. The small little puppy, the brave one it is, pounced forward and growled. A few of her fur streaked the color black and her growl sounded deep and demonic for a second. No, it can't be. Grover screamed. The Namine lion. Everyone. No sudden movements. Talia ordered. The lion stalked around them, licking its lips at the prospect of its newfound prey. It was like that for a few moments until it took the moment to pounce at them. Luna stood her ground, so Naruto dove for his little pup and they skid over the floor towards the stair railing. He looked up to see his friends. They had successfully scattered away from the initial attack and were firing pot shots at the beast, but the arrows were only shattering over the lion's mane. Hold it off, Naruto pleaded. I'll join you in a sec. When? Zoe yelled back. At this rate, we'll. Zoe paused as she jumped away to avoid another strike. She turned to the blonde. He was now sitting in a meditative position, unmoving. What is he doing? No one answered her. Bianca merely screamed as she dove to the floor, avoiding another attack from the impenetrable beast. Percy uncapped his blade and tried to slice the lion on its side. He looked confused when Riptide bounced harmlessly over the lion's hide. With that attack, the lion became interested in the son of Poseidon. No! Talia yelled, getting an ear-piercing roar from their opponent. She hefted her shield and commanded, back. The lion growled as it retreated from the terrifying image of Medusa carved on the daughter of Zeus' shield. For a moment, it was moving backwards, but then it crouched like how the cats did when they were fighting. Fortunately, Grover played a jig that caused thick vines to shoot out of the ground and wrap around the lion's hindlegs. It pounced just like it planned to, but the vines held strong and caused the lion to fall flat on its face. But that was just a temporary fix. The beast eventually tore through the vines, freeing itself, and bounded over to Talia. Over here. Zoe yelled to get the lion's attention away from the daughter of Zeus through the arrows she pelted the beast with. Is he not ready yet? Bianca asked as she drew an arrow of her own. He's been sitting there all this time. Just trust him. Percy yelled, going for another hack and slash. He'll pull through. Ow. He screamed in pain as the golden beast managed to rake its claws on Percy's coat. Hey, that was my only coat. Percy complained to the lion as it pounced on him and slammed him to the side. The lion knew how to defend itself and where its weak spots were. It knew better than to roar too much lest it be shot with arrows. It even knew to squint its eyes to remove another target for the archers. Once it knew he had gotten rid of Percy, he turned to face Talia. This time, it knew to ignore her and went straight for the archers. Zoe kept her cool despite being targeted by the beast, but Bianca, being the newbie she is, panicked, causing her to slip and fall down flat on her back. She sat up groggily, and couldn't recover fast enough to see that the lion was after her. No, the four questers yelled as they watched. They tried to run to her aid, but the beast bounded for her. It stopped and pounced to close the gap. The others knew they couldn't make it. It was almost helpless. Until an orange blur slammed into the golden monstrosity and pushed the beast into the wall with himself. Pan? Grover asked, hopefully sensing the energy coming from the newcomer. I haven't seen this kind of strength since, Zoe muttered under her breath, then shook head. No, this boy isn't like that pig. The figure walked through the dust formed by the earlier attack. It was Naruto. Except, his features were different this time. There was an orange pigmentation around his eyes and his irises had a thick horizontal line in the middle. You okay? Naruto knelt in front of the downed girl. Naruto offered a hand to help her. I've been better, Bianca said. But how did you? It's the same one I used back at Westover, Naruto explained. All that training is paying off right now. Stirring came from the massive hole in the wall. I guess Kitty wants to play some more. Naruto turned to the dust beginning to clear. Naruto raised his hand and motioned for the beast to come. The two fighters stalked each other, daring each other to make a move. Luna walked in front of Naruto trying to get a piece of the action. Then, another commotion broke through the momentary silence. Another blood-curdling roar pierced through the air. Not another one, Zoe muttered. I trust you can handle the other one, Zoe. Naruto asked the huntress. Leave it to us, she answered, then she ran to the lower floor with Talia and Grover in tow. Are you crazy? Bianca ran to the blonde. He'll rip you to shreds. I got this, Naruto said nonchalantly as he stared down the beast. You should help them. They will need all the help they can get. Bianca gave Naruto a look of concern before arguing some more. Are you sure? She asked some more. If there's one thing you should know about Naruto, he doesn't know the word impossible, Percy said. But, Bianca's voice trailed off. Oh, fine, Naruto relented. Percy, better go help them. Bianca and I will take care of the furball here, Naruto ordered his friend. Right, Percy acknowledged before running to the ROAAAAAR. The lion protested at the nickname Naruto gave him. Shut up, Naruto answered back. What about me? Luna protested as well. Geez, everyone's eager, aren't we? Naruto said. Fine, Luna, and I'll distract the beast. You find an opening to shoot the lions inside. Quote. Leave it to me, Bianca nodded. Fortunately for them, Naruto's eye contact with the great beast was able to keep it down long enough until they were ready. Once they met each other in the middle trying to rip each other's arms off. The golden lion was getting frustrated. He couldn't get a scratch on the blonde even if he tried. His opponent was just too agile for him. It managed to get a few hits in, but its claws never dug through the skin. Although, it was still smart enough to keep its mouth shut throughout the fight. Adding to that, there were arrows trying to pelt its eyes and mouth. It didn't pierce its skin, but it was still annoying for the beast. Luna was a natural fighter despite being in the field for the first time in her life. Due to her size, she was more agile than the blonde. She was following Naruto's lead perfectly. If only the beast's mane wasn't as hard as steel, it would have been bleeding by now. As she fought, her fur turned as black as night with glowing red streaks. Somehow, she exuded an aura of death, which went unnoticed to her two companions. Anyway, after a few turns of dancing around, another swipe of her claws was sent that didn't do any good at all. This time though, Naruto didn't dodge. He caught the big claw in his arm and held on tight. The next thing that happened shocked everyone. He pulled the beast over his shoulder and slammed it back first onto the ground, exposing its stomach. Without missing a beat, a swirl of chakra could be heard from the blonde's hand, compressing it into a ball of concentrated energy. Naruto slammed his attack on the belly of the beast, causing it to roar in pain and digging a crater on the floor beneath the two combatants. Bianca, seeing the opening, dug an arrow out of quiver and stabbed it into the lion's open mouth before it could even close its mouth. With that, the lion started melting, the way monsters do when you stab them with celestial bronze, but this time it was different. From the size of a truck, it shrunk down until it was the size of a normal lion's pelt. Picture the classical depictions of Hercules with the same pelt of a lion over his head. Naruto picked up the spoils and shrugged. That wasn't important right now, he had to check on his friends. He looked towards them and said, "Is everyone alright? Let's do that again," one particular puppy said enthusiastically. "That was scary," Bianca said worriedly. "I hope we don't run into anything dangerous again." "Oh, Bianca," Naruto shook his head as he ruffled her hair. "With our luck, I don't think that's possible." "Is it always bad when demigods go out on quests?" Bianca asked. "Sadly, yes," Naruto answered. "Our scents tend to attract monsters like sugar to ants." "Ouch," Bianca winced. "Don't worry, that's why we stay at camp, to teach us how to better defend ourselves from monsters," Naruto explained. "And do monsters always drop stuff like that?" she said, pointing to the now golden letter jacket with an omega on the back part. "Normally, monsters drop teeth or maybe a skull," Naruto shrugged. "I'm surprised as you are that the lion turned to this jacket here." Speaking of which, Naruto eyed the spoils. "I think you should keep it." Bianca shook her head. "I think you should have it. I mean, you did all the work." "Are you kidding?" Naruto said. "This would just be redundant with the Senin Modo's rock-hard skin. You need it more." "All right, if you say so." Bianca glanced sideways for a while. Earth to humans. Naruto's internal senses translated the bark. "The other lion." "Oh, right," the blonde said upon realizing just that. "Let's go." He hopped stairs down to the floor below without fear of broken bones at all. With another bark in response, Luna melted to the shadows and disappeared. Bianca saw this and was stunned. The energy that irradiated from the small puppy seemed familiar somehow, like it was close to home, but she couldn't place a finger on it at all. Then, she remembered the jacket. She wore the jacket over her shoulders. The size was a little too big for her, and the article of clothing seemed to realize this as well, as it shrunk further to fit her smaller frame. "Thank you, Naruto," she muttered and ran after the two. Camp Half-Blood. Nico peeked into the big house looking for the activities director. Naturally, he was worried about his sister. The both of them have no training for combat at all. How was she supposed to keep up with the others? And in addition to that, he didn't get to say goodbye to his sister at all. The day they left, they were already gone when he woke up. "Hello there, my boy," Chiron greeted as he walked out of the door. "What brings you here?" "I'm worried about Bianca," Nico said. "Will she be okay?" "I understand how you feel, Nico." Chiron placed a reassuring hand on the demigod's shoulder. Not many demigods leave for a quest on their first week at camp. Even Percy had a bit of training when he went on his first quest. "That doesn't make me feel better, Chiron," Nico muttered. "My point is, my boy, Percy had to rely on his teammates for the quest, and Bianca, right now, is surrounded by experienced demigods who could look after her," Chiron said. "And Naruto is with them as well. He would go above and beyond just to save his friends." "Thanks, Chiron," Nico finally smiled. Just then, a voice came calling for the centaur. As the voice came close, Chiron could see that it was a girl of Asian descent, and if you go by looks, she looked like she was from the Aphrodite cabin. She wore ringlets on her dark hair and makeup on her face. She seemed to be in a panic. "What's wrong, Drew?" Chiron asked. "Has anything happened to the camp?" The now named Drew shook her head. "No. It's worse. A lot worse." Chiron kept his calm, but he was certainly worried. "Now, calm down, Drew, and tell me what happened." "It's terrible. Luna is gone again," Drew said dramatically. "How is that worse?" Nico asked. Drew gave him an annoyed look. "Because, new guy, if Naruto finds out I lost his puppy, he might not go out with me." "Okay." Nico just agreed so the girl would get off his case. "Have you tried looking for her?" Chiron asked. "Yes. Drew snapped, but the panic was evident on her voice. I looked everywhere, but I can't find her. You don't think she went out of the camp, do you? Nico offered. Never mind. He retracted his statement as soon as Drew's gaze fell upon him. We just have to look again, Kyron said. We should ask for help from the other campers. Fine, Drew said and walked back to the other campers. Kyron took a deep breath and sighed. Oh dear, with the gang. As Bianca began to walk down to join his friends, she accidentally kicked something in the pile of gold dust scattered by the death of the beast. Huh, what's this? She asked herself as she picked it up. She didn't know what it was, so she just shrugged and pocketed the item, then went to join her friends. Hey Bianca. Naruto called to her as she slowly walked down the stairs. What's taking you? All right, she said. I'm coming. Hey, nice jacket, Percy said as the girl got closer. I was thinking Naruto was going to get the spoils from the Namine lion this time, Grover added. Nah, it suits her more, right Bianca? Naruto waved off Grover's comment. And I see Percy got his own too. Nice. I suppose, Bianca answered. Well, Zoe decided I should keep it even if she did finish the beast off. Percy scratched the back of his head like his best friend always did. Warming up on boys, I see. Naruto chided the hunter's lieutenant, earning a glare. Do not misunderstand, Zoe corrected. I am merely recognizing his worth as a warrior. Right, Naruto continued to joke. How did you guys kill the thing anyway? Funny story, Grover began chuckling. It started with an ice cream sandwich. What? Bianca knotted her eyebrows in confusion, but her query wasn't answered. Naruto is right to make haste. Zoe spoke up in the middle of the conversation and pointed to a group of men walking across the museum lawn. The guards are the least of our worries. Luna began growling, sensing the oncoming threat. Gray men wearing camouflage outfits could be seen walking on the museum lawn through the glass walls. They were far away, but even without the Byakugan, he could tell that they were looking right at them. You better go, Percy said. I'll hold them off long enough for you to escape. No, we stay together, Zoe said. Naruto and Percy stared at her. Okay, am I missing something here? Naruto asked what was both on their minds. Zoe met the gaze. As much as I hate to say this, you are the sixth member of this quest. And we are not leaving anyone behind. Alright, Naruto clapped his hands together. Let's go. As quickly as possible, they boarded the camp van which stayed parked where they left it and floored it. This time it was Talia who was driving so as not to draw suspicion from the authorities about a minor driving the car even if Zoe was 1,000 years old now. As they drove, Luna had taken a liking to Lieutenant of the Hunt since she's somehow good with caring for the pup. Who knew you knew how to care for pups like her? Grover commented. I had cared for her kind when I first joined the hunt, Zoe explained. They make for wonderful companions and scouts. Wait a minute, Naruto clarified. You said her kind. She's just a normal pup, isn't she? Naruto, she disappears out of nowhere, Percy said. You still think he's your everyday puppy. You don't know what she is. Zoe said. She is not your run-of-the-mill puppy. She is a dire wolf. Really? Everyone was surprised by the revelation. But aren't they extinct? Grover asked. No one has seen them for thousands of years. Yes, Zoe nodded. Even, the hunt stopped looking for their kind as companions after they died out. It's a miracle that one had survived after all this time. She's a miracle indeed, isn't she? Naruto mused as he watched the puppy snuggle close to them. I hate to break the moment, but we are being followed, Talia said as they crossed the Potomac. That's like the one that showed up at Westover, Bianca commented. How are they working for them? Don't they see the monsters around them? They are mercenaries, Zoe answered distastefully. Mortals will fight for any coin as long as they are paid well. Plus there's the mist too, Percy added. It'll keep them from seeing the truth. We can count on the military to shoot it down. Grover said hopefully. I don't know. They probably think it's a new helicopter or something. Naruto shot down the idea. We could use a little lightning bolt here, Dad. Talia grits her teeth as she swerved from lane to lane trying to get as far away from their pursuer as possible. Pretty please. Talia's prayer fell on deaf ears. No helpful thunderstorm, nor even a cloud was in sight. There, Bianca yelled, spotting a parking lot. Take us there. We'll be trapped. Talia protested. Trust me, Bianca pleaded. With no other choice left, Talia shot across 2 lanes of traffic and into a mall parking lot on the south bank of a river. They ditched the lot and scurried down some steps that Bianca somehow knew were there. Subway, Bianca said. Let's take it south to Alexandria. We haven't got a choice, Naruto said. We have to. Answer, they bought the tickets, got through the turnstiles making sure to check behind them if they were pursued. Not long after that, they had boarded the southbound train, riding away from Washington, D.C. As the train emerged from underground, they saw the helicopter circling the area of the mall trying to look for any sign of them. Phew, Grover sighed in relief. That was quick thinking, Bianca, but how did you know that there was a subway right below the mall? Bianca shrugged, but she still looked pleased. I don't remember the station being there before, but I remember seeing it before when we passed by with Nico before when we used to live here. Wait, what do you mean? Naruto asked for clarification. That subway was always there, right? It can't just spring out of nowhere even with all the tech this world has. He's right, Bianca, Grover nodded. That station looked really old. I don't know, Bianca said. But when we lived here as kids, there was no subway. Wait, no subway at all. Talia pressed further. How long ago was that? Zoe asked, but Bianca wasn't able to answer as the sound of rotors once again came overhead. Looks like it found us again, Naruto muttered. We have to change trains. At the next station, our group of demigods switched trains in an attempt to evade their pursuers. For the next hour, all they were thinking about was getting away safely. After a couple of trains, they were able to get loose the helicopter, but the catch is that they were severely off course. And now, they found themselves at the end of the train lines in an industrial area filled with nothing but warehouses and railroad tracks along with lots and lots of snow. It was much colder here where they are. Fortunately for Percy, who was unprepared for this trip, he was now in possession of a new lion's fur coat. Naruto was now wearing a red cloak with flame patterns, the one he wore when he arrived at Westover Hall. Sorry for relying on your cash, Naruto, Percy apologized as they wandered through the train yard. It's no problem, Naruto said. At least we got away, right? Now they were looking around trying to find something, anything that could help them even though it was unlikely. But in a 1 in a million chance, there was a homeless guy warming up in front of a trash can fire. He spotted the group, who looked a little worse for wear after that fight, and gave them a toothless grin. Y'all need to get warmed up. He called out to them. Come on over. THTH that's GGG great, Talia's teeth chattered despite her jacket and Naruto's arm around her. Luna growled a little not knowing who this newcomer was. Naruto picked her up and told her to be nice. In response, the puppy just snuggled into the blonde's chest. My hooves are frozen, Grover complained. Feet, Percy corrected. Should we ask for help from camp? Bianca suggested. No. Zoe shook her head. There is nothing they could do now. You know, you're never completely out of friends, the guy spoke. What do you mean, sir? Naruto said examining the stranger. He had a grimy face and a tangled beard, but his expression was kindly. The blonde narrowed his eyes sensing power coming from the hobo, a very familiar one at that. Is that you Uncle Apple? I don't know what you're talking about, young man, he shook his head. There ain't no apples here. You can cut the act, Uncle Apple, Naruto pressed. I know that's you. The homeless man sighed and raised a greasy finger to his lips. Keep it down then. I'm incognito. And, could you think of a cooler nickname than that one? Not a chance, Naruto chuckled. Uncle Apple suits you. How did you know it was him? Percy asked. I'd know his energy signature anywhere, Naruto answered. Anyway, what are you doing all the way out here? Shift's done, Apollo lied. Just chilling till it's time to start the sun chariot again. That can't be the only reason you're here, Talia said. It's too convenient. Nonsense. Apollo waved her off. Can't I just happen to come be in the right place at the right time? Well, can you help us at least? Percy pleaded. Sorry cuz, Apollo shook his head. I want to help my little sis as much as I want, but the ancient laws are clear, no direct interference. But how will we go west? Bianca drooped. Well, if hypothetically, there was a certain ride headed west that was about to leave and, hypothetically the doors were open for you to enter, then I guess that does not count as direct interference, Apollo suggested. Get to the point, Zoe said impatiently. The incognito god winked and waved his hand towards a freight train, gleaming and free of snow. It was one of those trains that carried automobiles. With the gesture, the steel mesh curtains unlocked, revealing the triple deck of luxury cars inside. On the side of the train, the words Sun West Line could be read. How convenient, Talia commented. She then turned to Apollo and said, "Thanks for that." Apollo waved her off. "You are very welcome, young lady. So, do any of you lovely ladies need help boarding the train?" "Beat it," Zoe refused harshly. "We can handle ourselves just fine." Naruto sighed. "By now, you should know better than to hit on my sisters." Zoe stared at Naruto at the mention of the word sisters, but he didn't say anything. "So cold," Apollo muttered, but his cheerful expression quickly returned. "Well then, I guess it's time for me to leave. Remember, you did not see anything today." The god gave a salute to the demigods and he slowly disappeared in a flash of sunlight. "Jerk, he had to take the fire with him," Grover grumbled. Without anything to heat him up in the freezing weather and the eagerness to get out of it, they boarded the train. Inside, there were no seats for them to relax on, but they had the various luxury cars to relax on, so it was no problem. The demigods went their separate ways and picked the cars to relax on. Zoe took Bianca and relaxed on a Lexus parked on an upper deck, probably to preach to her the wonders of the hunt. Percy joined Grover on a Lamborghini where the satyr played race car driver. And Talia pulled Naruto towards a black Mercedes SLK. The girl had hardwired the radio, so she could listen to alternative rock stations. And even though the genre wasn't his cup of tea, he found himself bobbing his head to the music. Luna jumped in with them and made herself comfortable on the blonde's lap. "You know, they're going to come after you," Naruto spoke up as he strokes the puppy's ear. Talia shrugged. "It makes sense," Naruto continued. "They tried to get Percy on their side. I'll be damned if they don't do the same to you. And we should assume that the Namine lion isn't the one from the prophecy," Talia added. "Yeah, not even close," Naruto agreed. "Whatever it is more dangerous than anything we have faced before." "With how far we have to go," Talia said, "I don't think we could take anything more dangerous." "You have an idea where we're supposed to go?" Naruto tilted his head. "It's just a hunch, really, but I think we have to head to San Francisco." "Well, that is in the west, but what makes you say that?" "I just got the idea from what Annabeth had been complaining while you were gone. Her dad was planning to move there. She was so mad. She couldn't stop complaining about how he should know that half-bloods couldn't live there. Uncle Frederick did that. But why? I don't know," Talia shrugged. "She didn't say." I see." Naruto decided to move the topic on. "But that must not be the only reason." "Yes." The daughter of Zeus nodded. "The reason why it's unsafe for us to go there is because the mist is really thick there since the Mountain of Despair is over there." "The Mountain of the Titans?" Naruto asked. "That would make sense. Hiding Carson in a place where we're told it's too dangerous for us demigods to go." "Yeah," Talia said, finishing with a yawn. "Man, I'm beat. Fighting those two Namine lions really could drain a lot out of you." "I agree with ya," Naruto dittoed. "Sage mode can take a whole lot out of yo." Naruto instantly fell asleep when his body found the perfect spot just as Led Zeppelin's song was starting to play. "Naruto. Hey Naruto." Talia tried to get the blonde's attention when the words stopped coming from him. "Oh, that's a good idea actually." She let out a huge yawn and her head slid towards Naruto's shoulder. Just then, a man walked up to the Mercedes with a knowing look on his face. "Look at my nephew, so popular with the ladies. I taught him well, but they're asleep now. Oh well, might as well speak cuz over there. Cloudcroft, New Mexico. Should we wake them?" Grover whispered. "Maybe we shouldn't," Bianca whispered back. "Look at 'em, they look so adorable together." "I disagree," Zoe said in her normal voice. "We are losing precious time if we let continue like this." That was the moment Naruto took to the moment to grunt himself awake. He found himself cuddled right next to Talia in the luxury car. Talia stirred, waking up from the blonde's movements, while a particular furball who snuck in between them, jealous of the two demigods' closeness. The both of them groggily opened their eyes only to see everyone else watching them as they sleep. Both of their faces heated up and blushed at the attention. "Finally, they're awake," Grover said. "About time," Zoe said. "We must hurry." The train stopped. "This must be the last stop," Bianca said. After a few minutes of freshening up and getting ready, they were prepared, or as prepared as they will ever be, to continue on their quest to save the goddess of the hunt from the clutches of a titan who calls himself the General. After the fiasco that happened the day before, they have 4 days left to save Naruto's mother, including this day. Now, our heroes find themselves in this little ski town. The air here was cold and thin. The roofs of the buildings were covered in heaps of snow, and dirty mounds of it were piled up on the sides of the streets. Tall pine trees loomed over the valley, casting shadows though the morning was sunny. From where they were now, even in their thick clothes, they still felt the air pierce through to their skin. It was like they weren't dressed for the weather at all. As they walked, Percy narrated to his companions his little talk with the god Apollo just the night before. He explained that he told them about how information on the location of his twin sister and the identity of the monster in the prophecy was clouded from even him, the god of prophecy. He also told them that they should seek out Nereus in San Francisco. Looks like your hunch was right, Talia, Naruto said. We are going to the Bay Area after all. For once I'm not happy for being right, Talia sighed. Why? How bad can the Bay Area be? Percy asked. Percy, Mount Othries is there, Grover said. There are a lot of monsters at the base of that mountain and the mist is so thick there, even we demigods are affected. Right, and what's Mount Othries? Percy followed up. Grover didn't answer, instead he sent a look to the leader of the quest like he was asking for permission to say more. Percy looked to Talia, but he was given the same response. Zoe seemed to notice this and said, I do not want to talk about it. All that thou have to know is the mountain is dangerous for thee half-bloods. She sounded like she had bad blood when talking about the place. Grover sighed. I guess that's good. At least we have an actual location now. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but we got no ride out of here, Bianca said. The group looked around. True to Bianca's words, there was literally nothing in that town save for a school, a bunch of tourist shops, cafes, some ski cabins, and a grocery. All of that was seen from the middle of the town. Hey, there's a coffee shop. Grover pointed out. Yes, coffee is good, Zoe agreed. I guess even an immortal huntress needs her morning coffee. Alright, me and Bianca will go ask for directions, Talia suggested. You 3 go get us some coffee and hot chocolate. We will meet in front of the grocery store in 15 minutes, Zoe added. Answer, the group split up to go on their respective agenda. On the way to the coffee shop, Naruto accidentally bumped into a curly-haired boy with dark brown eyes, pointy ears, and an elf-like features on his face. He kind of reminded Naruto of himself when he was younger, he was clutching his stomach like he hadn't eaten for a while. Oh, sorry about that, man, Naruto apologized. No, it's my fault, he answered in a Hispanic accent. I wasn't looking at where I was going. The boy's stomach took that moment to make its presence to the group. Sorry about that, he said. You must be hungry, Naruto said. You want to join us for breakfast? Gee, are you sure, man? The boy asked, making sure he was hearing right. Sure, why not? Naruto shrugged. For the first time that day, the boy smiled. It was like he hadn't experienced this kind of good gesture from anybody, even from family. He felt like crying, but he held strong just like he always did. After buying the kids some food, the boy couldn't stop thanking them. I can't thank you 3 enough for this. You don't know how much this means to me. No problem, kid, Naruto waved him off. Where are you from anyway? I'm from Houston, the kid answered. What are you doing all the way out here? Grover asked. No reason, the kid lied, but he decided he should tell them some truth. He owed them that much. Actually, I'm an orphan trying to get my life together. The orphanage isn't the life for me, you get me. Besides, they won't adopt me at my age. That hit Naruto in the heartstrings. He couldn't feel for the boy since he lived a life similar to his. He was about to say something, but Grover beat him to it. Say, what do you say we get some help to get you to a place to call home? No thanks, the boy was quick to decline. He knew what they were referring to, and he didn't want to go back to the orphanage after all the effort he went through to escape. Trust us. It's not what you think, Naruto tried to clear things up. No, those social workers are evil, he said as he inched back a bit. Thank you for the food though. Wait, they weren't able to get another word in as he had already made for a mad dash away from the group. Dang it, Naruto said. So much for a new camper. What was that about? Percy asked. You felt it too, huh, Naruto? Grover said. Yeah, he was a demigod too, right? Naruto answered. He was. Percy asked for a double take. Then let's go after him. Percy, we just don't have the time, Naruto said. We're on another time-sensitive quest, remember. He'll be alright if he doesn't realize it yet, Grover said. Besides, it's almost time to meet up with the others. Just as Grover said, the girls were already waiting in front of the grocery store. They didn't look happy. So, how are things on your end? Naruto asked as they joined their companions briefly. It's not looking good, Talia said. The clerk said we can call a taxi from Alamogordo down at the bottom of the mountains to come pick us up. It would take an hour just to get here and would cost us several hundreds of dollars. That is not good enough, Zoe said. We have to leave as soon as possible. Who knows what kind of things will find us here? I agree, Naruto nodded. Bianca, what's that? Oh, it's a rubber rat, Bianca showed it to the blonde. It's a rubber rat. I bought it cause the clerk looked lonely. There's not enough snow to snowboard anyway, Percy said. Ah, Talia grunted. I'll go ask other stores for other suggestions. But she said. Talia didn't listen. She stamped away, reluctant to stand around waiting for something to happen. After all, she was a demigod too. She too has those battle reflexes that kept half-bloods alive during the battle, but it did them little good when standing idle like times like this. I will go with thee, Zoe offered. Perhaps we can find a car rental or something. Talia nodded, and they left. So, Bianca, what's the story between you and Nico? Percy attempted small talk as they waited around. Yeah, why didn't you recognize that train station yesterday? Grover added in between mouthfuls of napkins and coffee. Mouthfuls of napkins and coffee. Bianca thought for a moment, staring at her cup of hot chocolate. I can't remember exactly, but I can make out a boarding school in DC. Except, that seems so long ago. How about your mortal parents? Naruto asked. We were told our parents were dead, Bianca explained. Really? Even your mother? Percy asked further. Bianca shook her head. That is typical for demigods, Grover said. The godly parent is presumed to be dead or lost. Both parents in some cases due to unfortunate circumstances. What about any relatives? Naruto added. No, nothing, but there was a lawyer that came once in a while to check on us in the school. He had set up a bank trust for us. I mean a lot of money. Gee, same, Naruto butted in, causing the boys to look at him. Sorry, continue. Well, the lawyer came in one day saying had to leave the school for some reason, Bianca continued. Why? The three boys collectively asked. Bianca knit her eyebrows, trying to dig for the information. I can't remember. All I can recall is that it was important. We traveled a long way, staying in a hotel for a few weeks. You were there, Naruto, for some reason. After that, we found ourselves in Maine. That means you're talking about the Lotus Hotel, Naruto deduced. That would mean. You must be from another time, Percy said. Like that guy in the arcade. Bianca regarded the new information. She didn't know what to make of it. It would make sense why she couldn't remember anything. Naruto placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Welcome to the club. I guess we're both weirdos. Aren't we all? Percy added. Shut up, Percy, Naruto joked. You're from this dimension after all. And time period, Bianca added, trying for a smile. Bianca, Naruto, and Grover laughed at Percy's expense. But then, something happened that none of them ever expected. Grover froze, suddenly stopping from his round of laughter and dropping his cup. Before anyone could ask what was wrong, a warm breeze rustled past them, like Zephyrus had blown his wind-stealing Boreas's thunder. Wait, that's Zeus' thing. I mean wind. No, that doesn't make sense. Ah, you know what I mean. A misplaced scent of fresh air permeated everyone's nostrils. Naruto felt it. It was pure nature energy, except it was stronger. He always felt that his sage mode wasn't as strong as in the elemental nations. But this time, when the energy entered his system, he felt stronger than when he entered Senin Modo in Westover and the Smithsonian. Shortly, the marks of the sage appeared on his eyes, which went unnoticed to his companions. Naruto, you. Bianca wasn't able to finish her sentence as the excitement wasn't yet to die down. The rubber rat sprang to life, causing the youngest demigod to eep in surprise. After escaping her grasp, it scampered off into the trees. Whatever this was, it wasn't done yet. Grover collapsed into the snow steaming. Even Naruto was, but nobody noticed as they were focused on the satyr. They gathered around him trying to get a word out, but all they got from him was a groan and fluttering eyes. Noticing the commotion, Talia and Zoe came running in towards them. What did you four do this time? Zoe asked. We don't know, Bianca reasoned. It just happened. Well, you better get him up, Talia said frantically. They found us. True to her words, the crackling of bones like the one you hear in horror movies was heard by the group. They turned to see a group of Mexico State Police heading towards them. Since they were demigods, they were able to see through the mist and see that their skin was really transparent and gray, revealing the bone underneath. The general must have sent them. Percy explained. We have to hurry. They were chased to the edge of town. They reached the edge of town when the skeleton warriors drew their handguns, ready to fire. Being far away from the civilians, Talia tapped her bracelet in defense and Aegis sprung to life, but the warriors did not flinch. They stood the ground, their eyes bore right through them. Percy drew Riptide, while the girls drew their bows. Naruto drew a kunai and assumed a stance, but Grover swooned and stirred on Naruto's shoulders. Neither of the two parties backed down nor made a move, each waiting for the other to make a move. Two more skeletons appeared on the road behind them and drew their own guns. They were now surrounded. Where did they come from? Naruto grits his teeth. He was worried about his friends right now. Two of them might have bulletproof clothing, but that only covered so much. And, there was also the other two. They may survive a fight with the weapons they're used to, but against guns, Aegis might not be able to block those bullets. He will have to be quick here. He, then, noticed that one of them brought out a cell phone. Instead of speaking, he made a clattering and clicking sound. Naruto took advantage of this, slowly reached into his pouch without the skellies noticing. It's near. Grover moaned. Shut it, Grover, Talia scolded. Don't make the situation worse. But, the gift of the wild, he insisted. Naruto ignored the scene. With one of them distracted on his phone and with him already being in sage mode, he sprang into action. Time seemed to slow down as Naruto executed his moves. With an inhuman burst of speed, he took out one skeleton, breaking him into his individual bone fragments. The others, seeing this, fired their weapons to incapacitate the blonde's allies. With their battle reflexes active, Bianca and Percy instinctively absorbed the bullets with their clothing. They were briefly propelled forwards by the momentum, but they were alive. Oh, gods, I'm bulletproof, Percy cheered and drew Riptide. Let's. In multiple flashes of yellow, the skeletons collapsed and broke down similarly to the first one. Naruto stood in front of his friends, his weapons still drawn, like he was ready for another fight. That was awesome. Bianca cheered as well for Naruto's accomplishment. Naruto shook his head. I don't think it's over yet. Indeed, just as the blonde implied, dust swirled around the bones and began to reform. These opponents were more persistent than the regular monsters. At least they would stay dead when you stabbed them. Let's go, Zoe ordered to her teammates, not wanting to risk any more fighting. They ran as far as their feet could carry, and they could have gotten themselves away too if it not for the reinforcements coming from the trees. Whatever these things were, they were getting too troublesome. It's getting closer. Grover moaned a lot. What is? Naruto demanded. These keep cutting him off and it was getting annoying. The ground cracked in the path in front of them as a skeleton hand burst through the dirt. They were the same as the others, with those Solus glaring at them. Bianca was getting better at using her battle senses in this fight as she drew a dagger from the strap at her heel and engaged them in close quarters combat with the skeletons blocking their path. A couple of stabs and parries later, she was able to get a strike in. This one was different though, as the skeleton burst into flames. How did you do that? Zoe asked in shock. That was the first successful hit in this fight. Even Naruto wasn't able to do permanent damage. I don't know, Bianca studies her blade. Lucky shot maybe. It's here. Grover moaned more loudly this time. As soon as he said that, an unmistakable sound pierced through the quiet town air. R-E-E-E-E-E-E-E-E-E-E-T. That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe. And see you guys later.